This is No Hipsters Pod.
We're all just living in the moment of being positive, and there's like people called haters. No, Cindy, one more thing. And we give them positivity.
Let's go.
Episode 31, No Hipsters Pod. It's your boy Ronte, the founder of NoHipstersAllowed.com, and this week our co-host is my girl, Alexis Garner.
What up, what up?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So this is the first show since the inauguration. It was over a week ago, so it's been a while now, but first show, so we have to talk about it. Our girl, Kamala Harris, is now the Vice President of the United States of America, officially. And it was, I mean, listen, I've been standing from day one, so I had jolts of excitement rushing through my body all day on that day. So it was really exciting. What did you think of the whole thing?
Number one, I don't know if it's appropriate to ski-wee on a podcast.
Oh, but... Lord. Go ahead. Just go. Go for it. Go for it.
I don't know if my pipes are warmed up, but I'll just try to do a little mini ski-wee.
Shout out to all the AKAs.
Thank you. I am still beaming with pride. I apologize to anybody who was on my Instagram stories that day because I was blowing it up with the pink and green. I'm sorry. I'm proud.
Of course. I mean, you have every reason to be. It's just a big moment. I know like AKAs are definitely going to be insufferable for the next, 48 years or however, but I'm happy for them. Even Howard grads are like, I mean, they're insufferable anyway, but they are showing their asses right now, and they deserve to. So it was really, really special, and it was just amazing to see, a woman in that position, and it's also crazy that it really took this long. You would think that a country that purports to be progressive, waited this long to have a woman rise to that level of power, but better late than never, and I'm excited, super excited.
Yeah. Super excited. Yep. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. I'm still beaming with pride over the whole thing. It was really, really well done for me to have had such low expectations and to be so disappointed living here in the nation's capital and not being able to, have that experience that we really, truly feel like we own living here, in the District of Columbia. It's like, this is our thing and we didn't get to do it, but
we both live particularly close to like the capital, so it's sad that we live this close and still can partake in the festivities. But we'll get them next time.
That's right. That's the hope. That's the plan.
Let's change gears. Let's talk about Verzuz. I know you didn't see all of it, neither did I, because honestly, it was just at this point after the third postponement, it was kind of like whatever, but Ashanti and Keisha Cole finally got together for their Verzuz, and Keisha was an hour late and showed up stink as hell, but
I'm really sad that I missed it because I am an Ashanti fan. Like, I really, really love her, and I don't know, I didn't even really feel like it was that great of a matchup, to be honest.
Right. We both agreed on that because we talked about this in the past, because like the internet for some reason thought Keisha Cole was gonna prevail, and I was like, you guys have amnesia? Are you forgetting how huge Ashanti was circa 2006? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know there's no debate between both of us. We both know that Ashanti was gonna win, and now that it's happened, the whole internet agrees that Ashanti won. So
just for sheer talent, I just think that she's a more talented singer. I mean, I love you, Keisha. Like, you really did the thing on some of your songs, but I just think when I look back at my maturation, being a teen, listening to Ashanti, that just gives me all the feels. I don't look at Keisha Cole's body of work and get the feels at all. Right.
and the fact of the matter is that just as far as the scale of the hits, Keisha really doesn't come close, if we're being completely honest.
Right.
So, oh yeah. And so now since that's happened, there's a lot of talk about a potential matchup between Justin Timberlake and Usher. Mm-hmm. And according to Timbaland, even Drake, has nudged him about making that happen.
What about this next one? And I'm going to start with you, Tim. Usher versus Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake, yes, we know. It's so funny. Drake hit me up too about it too. He said, we gotta make that happen. We gotta make that happen. I'm like, Soon to come, soon to come.
I think they're both kind of too big for the whole thing, but you never know. But I doubt that will ever happen. But if it did, I think Usher will wash Justin Timberlake. And so I was wondering what your thoughts were.
Oh God, 100%. I don't. Yeah, like when even when you said it, I was like, that's not a real competition.
It really isn't.
I mean, just like when you think about the audience for Verzuz, like there's no way he would mollywop Justin Timberlake. So let's just not even embarrass that man. Let's not do it.
Exactly. And besides, he still owes everybody an apology for that shit he did with Janet, but we're not even going to talk about that. So,
okay.
Right. Moving on, let's change gears to something a bit more serious. So, Seattle Seahawks offensive lineman Chad Wheeler was arrested this past weekend for brutalizing his girlfriend. And so as you know, as it's described, he was in his apartment with her and asked her to bow to him. And then when she didn't, he beat her up, strangled her until she was unconscious. And then when she regained consciousness, she saw him like drinking a smoothie beside her and said, "Oh, you're alive." It's quite crazy. A lot of conversations have kind of come out of this, but I just wanted to know what your first thoughts were.
My first thought is just it's despicable. For someone to treat another person with such little regard for their life. Domestic violence is one that's really tough for me. And taking it kind of back to the discussion about around the sorority, I have two pro fights who lost their lives to domestic violence at the hands of their husbands. They were shot. And it really just kind of like, it just tears at my soul to hear these type of stories and hear these things going on. And it's so often athletes, particularly football players, that you hear about like committing these acts, And so it's like, I'm like, what is the NFL doing? What are they doing to really combat this? Are they holding like annual sessions to talk about the sort of trauma that these men in the past have inflicted upon women? What is being done? So those are my thoughts. It's so unfortunate. I did see the photograph of the young woman and literally, like you said, beat her to a pulp. And this is going to really stick with her for the rest of her life. Like she's going to be having PTSD, and I don't know what relationships will be like for her going forward after, surviving. And thank God she survived this trauma. But it's just so unfortunate. So unfortunate. Mm-hmm.
And that's completely right, because Chad is actually 6'7" and 310 pounds. So this is a big, like even for a football player, that's a big guy, right?
Massive.
Massive. And she's only apparently, like 145 pounds. And so this is a lot of conversation has come out of this. And what the first is that it took a little longer for the media to kind of, zone in on this story. And people think it's because he's white. And I mean, I'm sure there is truth to that. Part of me is also thinking maybe he wasn't as big of a star of a football player, because I went to his social media. He only had about 3,000 followers. So this is not like a marquee player. Mm-hmm. And so, but you have a lot of people bringing up Ray Rice and how that was all over the news. And I'm thinking Ray Rice was a bit more famous, and usually the bigger stars get more media attention more quickly. But I do think that that we still might have heard more if he was black. And it's interesting because it's strange, because I do think that yes, media is a bit quicker to tear down black athletes. Like you had Michael Vick, who was literally put over the fire for making dogs fight. And so that's definitely a fact. But as I listen and as I read the comments online, I get this feeling that a lot of the people who are bringing up Ray Rice are a bit more preoccupied with the demonization of black men, whether real or imagined, than they are concerned about domestic violence. Like I don't get the feeling that all these people are truly like this is like, these concerns are brought up in good faith. I think it's more of like, oh, like, a white man's doing it, so why don't you guys say something? And I feel like, and I know that I'm saying this because I've seen the kind of people who are making these comments, and I know how I've seen how some of these people have taken up for Tory Lanez, and so it doesn't feel like an honest take, if that makes any sense. And so it's been strange. I don't know if you've seen any of the chatter online.
Yeah, I haven't. That's a really interesting point to bring up. And while it might even be a very relevant point, it is not the number one thing that should be focused on in this moment. Like, if you look at that picture, you should have nothing but, sympathy for that young woman. And like you said, the domestic violence should be the focus, not, those secondary issues. While they are important,
very important. Yeah.
There's a time. And so, but leave it to the comments for people to run wild with rhetoric and theories and whatever. So,
right. The whole types are having a field day. Like, it's just
yes. Like, let's like really target our focus on what matters right now. So that's interesting.
Very, very, very interesting. And another thing that kind of presents a quandary is that Chad Wheeler is bipolar and supposedly has been off his meds as of late. And so people are, bringing that up, and some people are saying that, like, if he is mentally ill, then it kind of changes things and he needs help. I'm not quite sure where I stand in that, because I do think that, yes, if you're mentally ill, that, that prison is not the answer for mental illness, but I really do think he deserves some punishment, mentally ill or not. But it's strange, and I do think it's a valid point to bring up. I'm just not sure. I'm not completely sure how I feel about that quite yet, because I can't just say, oh yeah, he's mentally ill, so I guess he gets off, right? Based on what I saw and just her face, I mean, he needs to be punished in some way. But I was wondering what your thoughts were, knowing that he is mentally ill and diagnosed bipolar.
Yeah. Obviously I want the young man to get some help, or, it sounds like he's gotten help and he's been diagnosed as bipolar. But he needs some time away from the sport. He needs some time to himself to really gather himself and figure out why it is that he's not taking his meds and understand the ramifications of him not doing so. And I don't know, I would be curious to know, like, if he's had other kind of like infractions, if he's had anything else kind of on his record. Because if this is like not the first time, then I'm like, lock him up.
I guess then there's your answer. So there was an incident from when he was in college at USC. And I don't know that I'm not sure. I've read the report. I don't think he hit anyone, but I think he just went berserk, and someone had to call the police. And I'm not really sure what the deets were, but he ended up being arrested. And this was 2015. So this is not his first time. Now, I don't know if there are any report. There's no other report of him like actually hitting a woman. But the fact of the matter is that usually when people do things like this, it's rarely their first time. So
I don't know. Yeah, this is a real squirmy one. Like, I don't know how to really put my finger on it, but it feels wrong. A lot of things about it just feel off. And, I definitely think from a career standpoint, like, there should be something that happens to him as a result of this. If it means like he can no longer play football for like a period of time, that needs to happen. But there needs to be some repercussion to this 100%. Right. Yeah.
I mean, the Seahawks did, release a statement saying that he's no longer, works for the team. It wasn't as forceful of a statement as you would expect, but, they did put out a statement. But I don't even know whether that's enough. I'm talking about, jail time here. And that's why I'm stuck on the mentally ill part, because, okay, I do want jail time, but if I, purport myself to be someone who is, pro mental health and getting the proper treatment for mental health, it's kind of difficult to square that with my wanting him to be punished. So that's that's what I'm struggling with right now. But I think he can. We could do both. Get him some help and then put him in jail.
Ross like, I want both.
Right.
Damn it.
Give me both. Give me both of them. It's just not good enough. I wouldn't be able to, I can't rest knowing that someone did that. And it's even like oh, wow, you're alive. That's, to me, that's the part that is particularly, just devious. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just, and also I like to tell people all the time that there are lots of mentally ill people who don't do violent things. And so I think people make a mistake when they, explain violence away with mental illness. There are lots of people who are severely mentally ill who aren't harming people. And so, yeah.
I don't know. It's troublesome for me because I guess in a way I think of like, it's a criminal defense, right? Like insanity. So
exactly.
If you can get out of a crime in a court saying, pleading insanity, like how is this technically different? So that's why in my mind, I'm just like, it's going to be really hard, I think, for them to prosecute. I mean, they should still they should still try to do it. But if he has a diagnosis, what really can you do?
Right.
Because he technically had he can claim that he had an episode. Now, did he really? We don't know that.
Yeah.
But because he's been diagnosed, I think it's going to be challenging. But again, I think you're right. I think that, whatever can be done, an attempt should be made on behalf of this young woman who very much could have lost her life because that was his intent.
Let's change gears and talk about DaniLeigh, a singer, she calls herself, but
shade.
But yeah, and she dates the rapper DaBaby, and she released a song titled Yellowbone in 2021, and was rightly dragged by social media. And the song isn't just like tone deaf and colorist, but she's also like not even black based on the evidence at hand. So I was wondering if you came across any of this.
Yes. I believe you posted it, so thank you. No Hipsters blog.
Of course.
Keeping me current. Everybody go click and follow. Thanks. So much of that is problematic. And apparently, she wasn't sincerely apologetic about
At all.
And it's just a lot of these stars, they speak and then, they figure it out. They try to scramble on the back end.
Right.
And I'm kind of tired of that. Like, I'm a little tired of this sort of, laissez-faire attitude, but then expecting, people to continue to support them throughout their foolishness. Like, no, sis. If you get canceled out of this, I don't have no problem. I don't really like the music like that anyway.
Right.
So it's not a loss.
Right.
But, it is a clear, just level of ignorance that she has. And to have the defense of, oh, I'm dating a black man.
Oh my gosh, she did say that.
Colorism is a real thing, so I do get it. But I'm not that. I'm not a colorist. I'm not a racist. I date a whole chocolate man. I have beautiful dark-skinned friends. And skin isn't something I even see. It's not something that I look at.
It's like a white person be like, I'm not racist. I have black friends.
Right.
Like, it's the
apparently that's exactly what it is, because she ain't black. I mean,
you're not black.
So...
And the funny thing is, I actually kind of thought, being from Louisiana, like a lot of times, like I don't know, because I know a lot of people who look like her,
right.
who would fight you down if you tried to tell them that they weren't black.
Facts.
So I was not certain whether she was or wasn't. So I had to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt. But when I realized oh no,
she's not.
Not?
Yeah. No, because I was so sure she was black too, because she looks black enough to me, at least. And she has the Dominican Republic flag in her bio somewhere. So I just figured, okay, she's a black Dominican.
Right.
And her parents are telling a different story. So, it's a strange one, and it makes it doubly inappropriate. And I just, I don't know why people are this tone deaf in 2021. Are you not on social media? Do you not have friends? How are you going to, especially for someone who calls herself an R&B artist? How can you be that, tone deaf? It's remarkable.
I think that appropriators are tone deaf. You know what I'm saying? They don't, and I don't even know if they really care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they whatever suits them is what they're gonna do. Especially if you're bold enough to appropriate an entire culture that is not yours. So
Right.
I mean, I feel like they have very little regard for the communities that they appropriate from, and this is par for the course from what I can see. So
Right.
yeah,
So it's funny. So because the baby, I guess, was posting supportive comments in under the song, someone referred to them. Someone referred to them as the dummies.
oh my God, that's pretty appropriate, actually.
Right. Yeah, Twitter has been on them all week, so yeah, they deserve it. Moving on,
indeed.
let's talk about Bridgerton, which is Shonda Rhimes' new hit at Netflix, and it has garnered, no pun intended, garnered 82 million. 82 million views. Has been watched by 82 million members in 28 days on Netflix, which is a record for a Netflix original series. And so it's really a huge hit. I meant to start it before the show, but it was just so much happening today, so I'm going to watch it afterwards. But I've heard mainly good things. I've heard like there's some dynamics that that some feminists are not so crazy about. But what are your thoughts?
So I watched it all in like 2 days.
Oh, nice.
I definitely binged it, just kind of serving my own following on Instagram. I have seen lots of different opinions about it. I've seen, Black women that loved it and Black women that ripped it apart, and I think, that I can see both sides of the coin, of course. But from my perspective, it is definitely a complicated love story. I love period dramas. So, all of that is fabulous, but also seeing Black people portraying these very prominent characters, which you would never see. You would never see anything like this 10, 15 years ago. So I love what they are trying to promote and what has been created. I think that those parts take it to the top for me. The things that people have problem with, the young lady who is pregnant, you know what I'm saying? And although I loved her because I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want to give too much away because you haven't seen her. I gotta be careful.
Right.
I gotta be careful. But I mean, okay, you can't get past like, I think episode 3 or something like that without finding out about her. But she really is like, she comes in and she's killing it until her secret comes out. And it's just like, okay, but to me, that didn't disparage her because at the end of the day, that's life. So I don't know. I didn't look at some of the things in the plot as trying to like degrade Black women or in any way. I mean, for goodness sake, there's a Black woman as a queen in the show. So I don't know. I mean, I could see all the different sides, but I would just spin this in more of a positive direction. I really liked it. It was well done. I give it an 8+.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fine. They already have a season 2, in the works, so that should be exciting. And it's funny. I've noticed just based on what I see that it's very swirly, like every other thing like Shonda Rhimes has ever done. Like she loves her an interracial couple. Yes. Like she's like, if the two people are the same color, she don't like it. Like it's really very, very interesting. So and it's funny. So people are talking about how ABC fumbled the bag. So this could have been an ABC show, but Shonda Rhimes left ABC for Netflix because they, made a small but costly mistake. And it's funny, I did think at the time when they announced that she was leaving ABC, I thought it was pretty random, but there was a particular reason. So at some point, she was going to Disneyland with, I believe, her daughters and her sister, something like that. And I think she gets 2 Disneyland passes as part of her deal with ABC, which is owned by Disney. And I think she requested like an extra Disneyland pass. And mind you, these are worth $154. And so she's making phone calls and, oh yeah, can I get an extra pass? Blah, blah, blah. And I guess some executives said to her, I guess, people they're fussing that, why can't you just, can you get it yourself, blah, blah, blah. But I think she eventually gets a pass, the extra pass, after being given the runaround. And then they get to Disney, and even not only did the pass not work, but one of the ones that she is entitled to wasn't working. And so I think she called, and then an exec said to her, "Don't you have enough?" Mm-hmm. And so apparently she got so mad that after she dropped the phone in that phone call, she called her lawyer and told him to get out of ABC in the next few months, or she was going to get a new lawyer. So that's the story. And, I've been thinking about it, and I totally get how it could seem ridiculous for a multimillionaire to be trying to get a free pass that's worth $150. Mm-hmm. But seeing as that mistake has cost them, millions in revenue, I think they should just give her the ticket.
First of all, ABC, you're big mad, and you should be, because you're stupid. I'm sorry. These stars come on set. They have writers. They ask for ridiculous things. They ask for 1 million green jelly beans, and specific brands. You mean to tell me that a Black woman who has brought your company millions upon millions of dollars?
Actually, she's made them $2 billion.
$2 billion is not worthy of 3 flimsy tickets to Disneyland, Disney World, whichever one it is. Don't care. Come on. It is a literal and figurative slap in the face. And she's right. Good for her. So happy that she made that move. That's whack. That's super whack.
Right. It's if she asked for 10 passes, that will still be $1,500.
Give it up.
Why? Why couldn't she just have it?
Right.
Oh well, but yeah, they're lost, and so now she has taken her talents to Netflix, and breaking records, and all that. Winners and losers. Alexis, since you're the guest, I will let you go first. Who are your winners?
Which one do I want to do first? Let me think. Let's go with winners first. Okay. I'm going to give Uncle Joe, or should I call him Grandpa Joe,
Lord,
my winner. I feel like he gives me more grandpa vibes. I'm going to give Grandpa Joe, President Biden, my winner, because he came in swinging day one with all of his executive orders and just flipping tables on Agent Orange. Get out of here. We are starting this thing fresh. We're getting all that crap out of here, and I am for it. It's so refreshing. So definitely my winner. And the loser is certainly, as of today, these hedge funds, because they are losing all their coins to these little Reddit nerds running around here.
Right. And I love to see it, because you know what? Shorting shouldn't even be a thing to begin with. People shouldn't be able to make money in that way. So I love to see it.
Yes. I'm here for it. And now that I understand the concept, I'm about to be in these little investment streets trying to see what I can come up on. It's phenomenal. It is. What they've been doing. And Wall Street can just really take everything from us. They can take it. But then when we take from them, when Main Street takes from Wall Street, it's a problem. Right. And yes, I cannot wait to see how this all falls out. But yes, they are my loser.
For sure. All right. So my first winner would be Erica Banks. She's an up and coming rapper. She has a song called Bust It. And a few months ago, she performed that song at a maskless club in Atlanta, and all the maskless people were watching her and basically stunting on her and acting like her song was whack. Fast forward a few months, and her song is the soundtrack of the first big viral challenge on TikTok, which is the Bust It challenge. And so big congrats to her. It just shows that you just never know where you're going to go. And,
I'm snapping over
Right.
here because I love a good classic glow up. That's a glow up if I've ever seen one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's exciting. And then, of course, my second winners would be all the creators on TikTok, specifically the Black creators who gave us the Bust It Challenge and who have now given us the Silhouette Challenge, which is a new one that just popped off like in the last 2 days. So shout out to them. And then my loser, none other than ABC, because it's just, I think it was a typical case of being penny wise and pound foolish, because you really could have just given her that pass. And it's just, and I know how petty it is.
You're really upset about that ticket, aren't you?
I'm hung at it. I'm stuck on it because it's like, I do understand how petty it would seem. And I can totally imagine feeling like, okay, why is this woman who we pay, X million dollars a year not able to buy her own Disneyland pass? But that doesn't, at that point, the fact that she asked, I just think the gracious thing to do would be to just give her the pass. And now look at how people create big problems with very, really small mistakes. So, this ABC definitely needs to learn a thing or two about goodwill and how quickly it can be destroyed by being just a herb. So
100% agree.
Yeah, so that is my loser, my one and only loser, which is a rarity. I don't always have just one. But yeah, ABC, you are the loser of the week. Before we go, I want to say that our Instagram page has been yanked for a second time because Instagram doesn't want to see us win. And so if you're listening, you can find us at No Hipsters Blog 2. That's No Hipsters Blog number 2. And follow for updates and latest in pop culture. And yeah, Alexis, thanks once again.
Can I just comment on that? I'm like, Instagram, if you are listening, please cut it out because I stumbled upon my friend Ronce's blog on Instagram, not realizing it was even deleted, and I was appalled. So please stop the madness. This is unnecessary. There are bigger fish that you can fry. We are trying to become that big fish over here. I say we because I have stock in this. Like, I love this blog. I get mad every time it gets deleted. It's just unnecessary. Stop it. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. Let him know. All right, Alexis, before we leave, plug your social media real quick.
Absolutely. You can go and follow me on Instagram at JetSetLex. You can also follow me on my business page, Bells and Whistles _DC.
And that's Bells, BELLES.
That's right. Like I said it.
Right. Indeed. All right. No Hipsters Pod, episode 31. Talk to you next time.